Hello, hello, hello. Actually, let's do that again. Hello, 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 hello. It's so much fun. It's like I have my own theme song. How's it going, all? Nemo Ashong here, founder of Enjoyment and pioneer leader of the World Joy Movement. It is absolutely an absolute pleasure to just spend some time with you today. And what's been going on my mind has been this evolution. And if you have watched some of the things that I've put out here, it's really about not settling and being able to move into whatever else is next for you, being able to go beyond what's good in your life to what's great, and even beyond that to exceptional, outstanding, amazing, incredible. And I am really interested in exploring something that just keeps coming up in my mind. And what comes to my mind is around relationships. So as a pioneer leader, as someone who's out there really showing up in the world and being able to create great things for yourself, for your clients, for your family, for all those that interact with you as a leader, relationships is the ultimate destination. Especially in this world nowadays where we play a game where, I mean, if you really look at it, everyone's trying to get your attention. And most people try and get your attention from the standpoint of, can I get like 5 seconds of you looking at a video or clicking on a link or seeing an ad or whatever it is. And everyone's just like vying for it. They're pushing, they're trying to find their way into your attention, into your viewpoints. And I wanted to offer each of you a different way to, I'm gonna even say, like, attention isn't even enough. A different way to build a relationship, a different way to really connect. Because what's the point of attention? What's the point of getting someone to say, hey, I exist? It's to really be seen. It's to really interact. It's to really connect. And it's to really build relationships. So I want to talk through really quickly a quick framework that I've been looking at. And essentially it just comes down to when I talk to people, like, what are they actually about? What are they actually trying to accomplish? And how far are they going? But to get into that, I think I need to start off with a story. So what you may not know about me is that in college, I was incredibly well known. Some said popular, but I made it a point to correct them on that. I was never popular. I was just really well known. It's interesting, but I have a couple different memories from college of like really feeling proud of myself. One of them was during our senior week, our last week of school. We were just hanging out in front of one of the local stores in College Town, and someone came up to me, and I remember this. I was wearing a blue shirt with my last call vest on top of it, and I thought I looked really great. There's actually a picture of me that day. I think it was at just at some kind of like dance-a-thon or something, and I was wearing that, and it was so much fun. And I left that place, and someone came up and said, "Oh my goodness, you're Nemo?" I thought I was going to graduate without ever having met you. It is such a pleasure to meet you. And it was just one of those things where it was like wild for me, because I mean, just thinking about it right now makes me laugh. It's like, I was well known to the point that this was actually on someone else's mind. B, I never got that person's name. We never really got a chance to like go on beyond just that interaction. And to this day, like that moment stays true to me. But it's wild to me that I can remember my shirt. I can remember the vest I was wearing. I can remember what I was doing just minutes beforehand. But I can't remember the person who actually came in there to have this conversation with me, to not even have this conversation, to share this experience with me. And that right there, when I think about it from that perspective, it makes sense. It makes sense to me because this person really chose, in this case here, to have an interaction with me. They chose to interact with me to the point of being able to create something that felt interesting, but at the same time, never really deepening or taking that relationship to any other place, taking that interaction to anywhere else. I was recently at Tony Robbins in Singapore. It was amazing. I made sure to sit up in the front area, came in early, made some friends that were also really dedicated to really showing up for the event and being in a position such that they can take advantage of everything that event had to offer. And there was something that happened during that event that was really fun for me. Tony would walk through the audience, walk through the hall, through the pathways, and people would just like get up. They would like take a selfie with him in the background, not really with him, but like he was talking, and they're like, "I'm here," and he's there, or they'll like reach out and they'll like touch his hand and things like that. And Tony was really gracious about it. He was like, saying hi, touching hands and things like that. And I remember like having this thought in my mind, and I'm seeing all these different interactions that are taking place, and the thought that came to my mind was like, no, I'm not going to settle for just a high five or like a quick picture. What I want is for Tony to invite me to his house or to some place where we can talk for an extended period of time around something that's important. I want to be the person such that this guy goes out and invites me to be a part of something with him. It isn't enough to just have the interaction. I want to have built such a relationship with either myself, with other people, with the impact that I make, or with him in particular, such that the entire experience is different. So I bring up these two examples here to really just show out a little bit of like, as a pioneer leader yourself, where are you potentially choosing a path of just getting an interaction? Where are you choosing the path of like just getting the lowest hanging fruit and missing what is really available for you? Next thing I'm going to talk about is connection. So if interaction's level 1, connection's level 2. And I feel that, well, actually, let's see here. I think like in this conversation, the framework has even evolved. If attention is level 1, interaction is level 2. Level 3 then would be connection. And a lot of different times, like I hear people use this word a lot. Like, I just want to connect with you. I'm looking for connection. The reason I'm using social media is to connect. Get out there, connect with people and go from there. And I'm great. I like connections. I'm a connector. I like to connect other people. I like to connect ideas, places, things, different innovations. Connection is great. But I want to just look at it and say, like, are we selling ourselves short on that? So where I find that connection really holds back us as pioneer leaders is really where it comes to the people pleasing portion. Who do I need to be who do you want me to be so I can connect with you? Or we're just making a connection. Let me just give you this version of myself that is just kind of two-dimensional. Or even maybe one-dimensional, such that you can connect with that, so that you have a place to connect in with. And what I've seen is this realistically. It comes up in coaching conversations, and I myself know it intimately well because I had a lot of connections back in college. I had a ton of connections. I used to say I would know one. There was a 10% chance that I knew you, right? I knew like 1 in 13 people on campus. I really spent some time getting myself out there. And I was connected with a whole lot of people. But in that though, there were only really like 3 or 4 real friends that I had. 3 or 4 people that I really made a relationship with. And so I understand intimately the difference between having a ton of connections. One of the places that I used to, sorry, I don't want to share this, but I will now. There was someone that I was really interested in back in college, and she was on my mind. And back when I was practicing for Nicole, I just didn't know how to be smooth. And so one day we were in the library. That's where I started spending a lot of my time in my later parts of the years. But we were in the library, and I saw her, and I went up to her. And I'm like, it is time. I've been talking about her. I've been like all this stuff here. It's time for me to like really see if I can move this up a level. So I went up to her, and I said this. I said, I used to have 601 friends on the Facebook, and now I only have 600 friends on the Facebook. And I was wondering, that means that one of my friends had defriended me, and I was wondering, was it you? It was like this kind of like anxious energy out here, really focused on, of all things, the connections that I had on the Facebook. And it was the Facebook at the time, not Facebook. They hadn't gotten clean yet. They hadn't dropped the. But I say that to distract from the pain of reliving that moment, of re-experiencing that moment, of going up to someone that I really thought I'm like, hey, I want to connect with you. I want something here. I want to see, can we date? I was so smooth back then, so smooth. But it just goes to show just how much connection was at the front of it all. And as you can imagine, her face kind of like went like this, and that went nowhere. That was the last time that we really talked to each other. But it was because of the place that I was coming from. It was because I was settling for connections, because I had tried to use connections as if it was something of importance, something of meaning. And it's actually something that I've actively tried to do the opposite of when it comes to enjoyment, when it comes to really pioneer leadership. It is easier for me to go through and build a membership and have a bunch of people come in and participate with me for $20, $30, $40 a month, and just keep collecting connections along the way that each get, a little bit of Nemo, a little bit of the experience here. But what I've found from that is that it doesn't really take you anywhere. The connections don't really take you to whatever your next level is. It's just we get to be around one another, but do we really get to contribute to each other? Do we really get to open up? Do we get to be vulnerable? Do we get to talk about the things that matter to us or not? And what I found is that when you have connections, people typically tend to hold back. People typically tend not to share their truth, but they end up just being a version of themselves, which is just, quite frankly, not all that interesting. That's probably a little too harsh. But at least, no, I will say it's not all that interesting, because when I've gotten the chance to take it to the next level, to that deeper level of actually building a relationship, I find out that people are far more interesting than they ever let on through whatever their connections are, or whatever that connected self is. Now, the relationship level, right? If we've talking about, all right, getting attention, having interactions, building connections, and like really now we're talking about the relationship level, and this is all deepening. We're deepening the interaction each and every time. This is a difficult place to get to, because to be honest, relationships require courage. I talked earlier about building powerful relationships. To me, when I talk about power, it means two things, and it took me a long time to figure this out. But for me, power is two things and two things only. It is vulnerability and authenticity. So when I say build powerful relationships, what I really am saying is building and deepening vulnerable and authentic relationships. Because it's only in that we can actually have the relationship. So we're more connected than we've ever been in our lives. We have the internet all over. We have social media. We have our profiles on various things. We have access to each other through podcasts, through videos. Like right now, me and you are connecting in some sense. But it's our relationship building. It's part of the reason why I decided to slow things down a lot. It's part of the reason why I ask questions on here, because I really want to give us a chance of being able to take it to new levels. But it's also something that I recognize that I can't necessarily build a relationship with you here. I can connect with you, and I'm going to connect with you as powerfully as I possibly can, as vulnerably and as authentically as I can. But I can't build a relationship with you here. I made a post the other day that said, I write really long emails. And part of the reason for that is because I had been attempting to build relationship through email. And I was talking to my wife, Nicole, about it, and she's like, you write way too, just get to the point, one or two sentences, get it done, and then move on. And I think the thing that was interesting to me about it was that I hadn't realized at that point that email has turned into a place of transactions. Email is a transactional form. And so from a place of transaction, you can't really build relationships, because relationships are supposed to be transformational. Relationships have way more energy than a transaction that's involved. So now that I'm talking about relationships, I want to be upfront about it. It's not necessarily easy. It is not necessarily the thing. Let me just say, it's not easy. And if you're looking for ease when it comes to this here, trust me, I can find ease for you. Like, my general thing is to help people do things in a way that they get better results for less work. But it's ease from a macro scale, not a micro scale. If you're looking to have things be easy for you, you'll never really experience the deep relationships that you're looking for. I like to say, someone doesn't really become a friend of mine, a true friend of mine, until we can go back and forth, until I've actually gotten angry at them, until I've actually felt that I felt an emotion with me that goes beyond just the joy. Because to have created that much of an impact on me means that I truly care. And we've built our relationship to a point that's beyond just a connection. If I was connected and you did something that wronged me, I think I can just drop the connection. But if we had a relationship, whether or not I knew it, that's when I feel it. That's when I feel the sadness. That's when I feel the anger. That's where or the fury. That's where I feel the fear of losing something. So playing in the state of relationships requires a level of vulnerability and authenticity that, quite frankly, people who aren't playing at the pioneer level don't get to. Because it's hard. It's hard to express who you are. It's hard to be vulnerable in the moment. It's hard to show up exactly as you are and to put it out there. And I want to acknowledge that for the purposes of this video, and also say that it's also really hard not doing it. It's hard living a life of just connection. What I've found from people is that they can be surrounded, and myself included, surrounded by people and still feel terribly alone. A few months ago, I was having a conversation with Nicole about this, and I was like, I feel like I have good people in my life, but I still feel terribly alone. And the reason for that is that I hadn't been able to create relationships, deep, meaningful relationships, the level of vulnerability and authenticity that would continue to move me forward. And we had a really great discussion. It's part of the reason why I show up the way that I do right now, because I am setting a beacon out there for my people to find me. I want to build relationship. I will connect with you right now through this Facebook Live, but I want to build relationship. It's the reason why I say send me an email, send me a message. Let us actually communicate with one another. It's the reason I choose to listen so much when I have conversations with people, because I want to build something deeper. And as a pioneer leader, that's something that the people that you lead are really going to be looking for. Why? Because it is so rare in today's day and age. It's so rare in a world where people are fighting and paying for just opportunities to just get attention. People are just like the whole advertising business model, the whole advertising model is around getting people's attention. Influencers, people like getting, building online business. It's all about how do I get attention? I don't want to play that game. I want to play a game of relationships, because that's what actually fuels us. There's studies out there that show that even though we're more connected than we've ever been in our lives, we're also more lonely than we've ever been in our lives, or at least in our lifetime. And at first it blew my mind. I was like, how can we be more connected and still be more lonely? And what has been shown up for me from the coaching that I've done, from the various experiences that I've had, and from the coaching that I've worked with others, so from the pioneers that I work with, as well as the deep coaching that I've been going through, the people that meet with me regularly to take me to help challenge me. What I found is that in the times that we're not being unapologetically ourselves, we have a tendency to show up as what we believe someone else wants us to be able to create that connection. And what ends up happening is that we end up being fairly right. That person connects with us, they like it, it's pleasant to be around, and they keep coming back. And so we get surrounded by others that enjoy that part of the persona. The challenge then, though, becomes when we know deep down inside that the person that everyone likes is not really who we are. The person that everyone has been drawn to is not really like the person that we are at our core. They've gotten to like a version of ourselves, and if they ever saw the real me, and I'll just talk about me here. If they ever saw the real me, they wouldn't accept me. If they ever saw the real me, they wouldn't. I'll be alone. That's it. And if you watch me here on Enjoyment or in anything that I do, you'll see that this last year has just been a journey of saying, I'm going to be me. And through that, I'm actually going to strengthen my connections. I'm going to deepen my relationships. And here goes the thing that's been most interesting to me. It was not easy, and it still isn't easy. And yet, the relationships that I have actually been the easiest relationships to have. Because I don't dispel any of my energy having small talk. I don't dispel any of my energy being in places with people that like aren't bringing anything to me. Instead, I got to spend my time with people who are playing a big game, people who are interested in things that I'm interested in, people who are interested in things that I don't care about at all, but are just the type of person that fuels me and those around them. And so it's from this place here that I'm looking to say, how can you build and deepen your relationships? How can you go beyond the level of interaction, the level of connection, and get to a place of real relationship and powerful relationship? The key here, if there's any takeaway from it all, is to have powerful relationships, you need to show up powerfully. And in order to show up powerfully, at least in the way that I define it, it's showing up vulnerably and showing up authentically. Here goes a little thing though. It can be incredibly scary to show up in either one of those ways, vulnerably and authentically. It could also be a huge blocker if you don't really know what authentic is for you. And if you haven't really practiced being vulnerable. I acknowledge that. And all I want to do is offer you one simple thing that you can do, which is just try to be a little bit, a smidgen, a tiny bit more authentic, a tiny bit more vulnerable in the moment, in that moment. When you have the choice of hiding back and playing the game that you normally do that just takes you to connection, ask yourself the question, if I was going to deepen a relationship, if I was going to begin a relationship, open a relationship, what could I do to be just slightly more vulnerable, just slightly more authentic in this moment? And in all the moments that come up from there. That's really where it sits at its core. And I want to offer this to you here as an opportunity to be able to deepen and explore what that is. It's something that's one of the fun parts and the hardest parts about doing all this here is that I can't talk about vulnerability and authenticity without doing that myself. So let me share something that I don't want you to know right now, which is that this entire video has been incredibly uncomfortable for me. Well, I won't say incredibly, that's not true. But it has been uncomfortable for me. And the reason it's been uncomfortable for me is because I'm coming in here more in a teaching / guru perspective than I have in the past. Usually I come and I actually create this agreement with my coaching clients. I'm like, I am not your teacher, I am not your mentor, and I'm not your guru. I'm coming in as a coach. And what that allows me to do is to be able to come in there and serve them and ask powerful questions and help them see things from a different perspective. In this conversation, though, I'm trying something different. I'm leaning into my edge here and actually spending more time teaching a specific framework or a way of seeing the world. And it's interesting for me. It's difficult for me because at times I'm like, all throughout this video, I've been asking myself, who am I to say this? Who am I to say this here? Nemo, like, is it your place to put this out there? It's literally running through my mind. And I know that this is the edge that I want to be on. This is the place that I want to explore. I want to see, what is it like if I took a different approach to these Facebook Lives? What is it like if I share just upfront and directly what it is that I'm working on, what it is that I'm offering to people, what it is that people could benefit from right here and now? at the time this is being recorded, it's Saturday night in the U.S. So I'm thinking of Bruno Mars right now. So you might listen to this at another time if you're listening to the Enjoyment podcast, which is found anywhere that podcasts are available, or if you're watching this on YouTube or over on enjoyment.com later on. But it's a difficult thing for me because I'm used to seeing on Facebook like how many people are watching in live and all that stuff, and all those things like fuel me and fuel my ego, and also fuel my external validation desires. Fuel my external validation desires in the sense of like, oh, well, if people are watching, if I'm getting likes, if I'm getting hearts, if the number of eyeballs continue to grow, then I must be saying something meaningful. Right now, there's no one watching. And I'm still here. In fact, for the majority of this conversation, no one's been here. And I'm completely at ease with that. Because it doesn't mean, how do I say it? Because it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about being able to help serve you even more. So I put that out there. I didn't want to say it. I didn't need you to know that. But if I'm going to talk about building relationships and playing from a more vulnerable, more authentic perspective, I got to make sure I'm doing it myself. And I appreciate you for being a part of that. I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to give you a chance to elevate this from just a connection to an actual relationship. I'm one of those people that doesn't want to just have a webinar where you come in and learn a whole lot of things. This might go back to the teacher versus coach mentality. I want to facilitate something that allows you to go deeper and explore for yourself, allows you to really just empower you. Like, I don't have your answers. I don't need to have your answers. I'm having a hard enough time living my own life. I don't need to live your life and teach you how to live yours. But I do want to give you tools, tactics, skills, frameworks, and techniques that you can use to show up as you are in your world, and then use that to go create something. I'm not just about just knowing yourself. It's about using that toward being able to be so fully unapologetically you that you can go forth and do the difficult work that's out there. So you can have the energy to go forth and make what you need to come to life. And so from that perspective, I'd like to invite you to something. I'm launching a group program in October for 12 multi-passionate, multi-talented leaders. And I know, having been one myself, that one of the biggest things that keeps us from reaching that there is really understanding and owning all of who we are. And for the most part of our lives, we've faced people saying that you're either too much, or we face our own inner critic saying that we're not enough. And the Unapologetically You programs are all about helping you discover, embrace, and leverage who you truly are, so you can use that information to go forth and create the change that you want to make in the world. It's all about change makers, some movers and some shakers. And so I'm going to invite you to start to experience what that's like. I cannot possibly convey what it's like through just a conversation like this, through just a Facebook Live, because it's not even really the conversation that I would want to have. Instead, I'm going to give you an opportunity to explore that for yourself over at an Unapologetically You session. Now, with these here, they take place on a regular basis, and right now I'm making them open to the public. There is a cost that's associated with it. There is an investment that's associated with it, and that's because we want to make sure everyone that shows up, whether they're in person or they're showing up virtually, is really committed. Is committed to themselves. We're creating a level that is different, distinct from what most other experiences you have. If you're not ready to be unapologetically you, then great. This may not be the time. But if you are, just know that you're going to be surrounded with people who've made the decision to not just come out and see, but to come out and play, to come out and learn, to come out and change how they see their world and how they show up in their world. Just go over to enjoyment.com. There's a list of upcoming events that are there, and you can sign up for one of them. Now, I'll have to check in here and just make sure there's an application process that comes up along with it. That's just to make sure that we are actually, everyone that's there is fully committed. It's important for me that we have that kind of an interaction. So take a look at that. We'd love to see you there. And make sure you take advantage of it while I'm still offering it to the public. This is something that I'm likely going to be moving into a membership-only experience, because, quite frankly, it's the quality of the people and the level of engagement and the level of investment that's there. I'm already feeling that it's going to require that. But for now, I'm making it available. For now, you can come and participate. So I want to make sure that especially if you're making it all the way to the end of this video, that you know that there's a way to continue on here. And some of the people who go into this individual Unapologetically You opportunity will be invited to continue on with me through my paid coaching program, which is starting in October. And if you're interested in that, send me a message, or actually just go to one of the upcoming events, because that's the path. You actually cannot access that unless you've actually interacted. Actually, no, let's take it another level. Unless you've actually started to build a relationship with me. That's the only way that this works. So I'll leave you here with a question. In what ways are you playing small when it comes to the relationships in your world? In what ways are you holding back? Are you thinking medium when it comes to the interactions and connections that you have? How are you just fighting for attention? And what would be drastically different if you chose to build a relationship? This video is probably over 20 minutes long. That's unheard of for so many people. If you can just give me a 2-minute video, I'll watch you. No, you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Because what I have to share is not 2 minutes, not just 2 minutes worth of gold. There'll be a day when people get a 2-minute version of Nemo, and that's all they get. They will only get the interaction of Nemo. They won't even get to the connection. That day is not right now. Right now, we have a chance to actually explore much further, much deeper. So I invite you to come. Go to enjoyment.com and let me know what's going on with you, and let's have a discussion. Be a group of probably around 5 to 10 people that are all just coming together to explore more of who they are. The next one, some of the topics that we do include your unique strengths, inclusion, fear and vulnerability, your unique stories. So I'm just tossing out some of the ideas that have come up in the past and some of the places that we've gone in the past. So if you're looking to be a part of this, if you're looking to explore, if you're looking to take this from just a connection that the two of us have over here to an actual relationship, and to start building a better relationship with yourself and others, come be a part of it. I'll talk to you soon. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this, wherever you're watching this, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's on the website, whether it's on Facebook. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. What showed up for you? When I say showed up for you, what I mean, what are some new insights that you had? What are some places that made you feel uncomfortable? What are some things that tickled you and made you laugh? I want to make sure that we are going beyond just information and taking it to application. I'll talk to you soon.